Hey everybody, so time for another field trip, although I might end up having to leave early. It's starting to rain here. It's been raining off and on all day, so I just thought I'd give you a little field trip for this afternoon. It's been unbelievable this year, the amount of rain we've had. I'm about to fall into this ditch right here. This is an area that was plagued with fires earlier this year. Let me see if I can switch the camera to the other side, get you a better picture. So hold on one second here. Hey Bob, Charles, good to see you guys. So this area over here is called Mount Bony. I pointed that out a while back where we had a great big rainstorm come through here with snow, hail, sleet, you name it, including a little bit of a waterspout, tornado kind of thing. That was maybe pushing a month ago, when kind of in the middle of this whole storm season, but we've had nothing but rain, and we're nothing compared to Northern California. And I'm hearing right now some of you guys back east are getting clobbered again. So winter is still here, and it's just really dandy. And it's going to be good for all the prospectors. It's just, when we get to chance to kind of clear it all up. Let me see if I can flip this thing around, swap the cameras. There we go. So now that's a little higher resolution image, and I'm going to zoom in over there. That area right there, if you recall, last year was being bombarded with DC-10s and whatnot, all the way from that ridge line back over there. This is the Santa Monica Mountains region, so we had a terrific amount of fire and just incredible damage to the canyons. Well, right now, because of all this water, that continues to be a problem because of course it's just flooding and knocking all the boulders off of those mountains. You can see how much those mountains have. Now that guy has an interesting reputation. That is an old volcanic pipe. So when you see mountains that consist of what's called rhyolite and dacite, which is kind of that pinkish colored thing on the area, see if I can get my finger in there to point to you. No, I can't. Got it zoomed in too far and it's just bouncing all over. Sorry about that. So right over in there is where the old volcanic pipe, you can imagine a volcano coming up here in a big, huge dome, not dome, but cone. And it's since eroded down over a long period of time. Perhaps at one time there were nice deposits of gold in this region. It isn't really known for it. What would be more likely from this kind of thing would be to look and see if there's sufficient minerals in those pipes, to be interesting for diamonds. That's the kind of thing you tend to look for here. But there's still possibility for fine gold. It's just not known for it. So hey CJ, good to see you from Kansas. And yeah, that view is gorgeous. So it runs pretty much all the way to the Pacific Ocean over there. You can't see it. Right through there is the Channel Islands, and right through there is the traffic coming down from Potrero Canyon and Hidden Valley, home of the movie stars. In fact, right up in that area is a ranch that was once owned by let's see, a variety of movie stars. Stallone. So interesting area. I know of somebody up in that area who owns a fantastic horse ranch and was a multi-billionaire. So yeah, it's a great view, great place to hang out. A lot of mountain bikers up there right now, about ready to be trapped in this muddy mess. So it's kind of fun to see. You hear them go whizzing by there, looking for shelter out of the storm. So it's going to be an interesting evening. This just kind of started really picking up spit here this afternoon. It was going, kind of building off and on all day long, but right now it's getting going. So this is the kind of thing that we're seeing here. What are you seeing in your areas in the way of storm activity and getting ready for pushing that placer gold? I noticed some of the guys up in the East Fork of the San Gabriel Rivers were now showing pictures of the gold they're pulling out. They're digging cracks that used to be under 20 feet of overburden, and now it's right there at the surface, and they're having a blast. How about you guys? Hey Todd, welcome from Washington. Yeah, it is a great view, Brad. I'm having a blast just kind of looking at it. Problem is it's getting kind of wet and chilly, so we may end up cutting this short. The camera's going to get all covered with water. But it is fun doing this kind of thing live. It kind of makes for a difference. That's the back view. I used to live up in this area, so I frequented these canyons quite a bit. We took the kids up. We went. Let me get the camera in the right view here now that I got the other side. So we used to take the kids on up in this area right through here on our mountain bikes, and you can see a whole bunch of them over there. Right in there, there's a trail coming down with a guy in an orange outfit, and they're coming down the hill. There goes a bunch of police cars. That's kind of fun. Hope nobody got hurt. It happens. Some pretty rugged trails up there, and people every once in a while get their backs out of joint, literally. I know several people who've gotten paralyzed up there. It's rugged turf. Reminds me of a lot of the stuff along the Sierra Nevada in the foothills. This is very much the same kind of terrain. You got to watch your footing, and you got to watch for rattlesnakes. But it is a blast, and it is fun, especially when you get weather like this. It's funny. Those guys are not riding bikes. They're on foot, and they're running because it's wet. So this is going to be fun. So anyway, yeah, this field is just gorgeous right now. This was all burned to a crisp last spring, actually last fall. So kind of hard to imagine that quick a return, but you can kind of see where some of the burns were over in here. There's a patch there where it's clear, and then you see the rugged. The stuff above it is would burn about 1993-4. I lived up here, and it burned through there at that time, a big, huge burn. And then some of the taller trees and stuff are over 40 and 50 years old growth. So they are actually about 12 to 13 feet tall or more, some 20. And that's not bad for a thing. I'm going to have to get inside here. This is turning into a little bit of a rainstorm. What a golly, Jess. Don't you have any kind of... No, I don't. It's cold. Doesn't it look cold and wet? If it's not blocking the camera. Oh, the car's wet too. So that's kind of today's dial in. I just thought I'd chime in and talk about the weather and how it continues. Safkin's here from San Diego. Welcome. That's my old haunt. I used to go to UCSD and spent some time down at Scripps studying oceanography and geology and mineralogy. And right now I gotta study how to turn my windows back up because they're letting a little bit too much water in. So let me turn the camera back around because you don't want to look at my mug. You want to look at that gorgeous shot. If it's there. Yeah, it looks like it is. I learned last time I was covering up the microphone while I was talking to you about what I see. So this is one fantastic place. There's a horse ranch down at that end. It's all part of the Santa Monica Mountains and part of the National Park Service. This is kind of what happens and what everybody envisions will happen with these national monuments that are taking over all over the place. The problem is, you can't do a lot back in there. You're restricted as to what you can do, and only the groups that have the biggest bark and bite and budget can get their access. Even the guys on the bicycles are starting to find out that it isn't everything it's cut out to be. But it continues. Let me roll the window up here. It's starting to get pretty wet. And flip the camera back around. So, boy, it's getting kind of hard. The light's disappearing on me. Welcome, John from Florida. Charles says, looks like parts of Montana. Yeah, it kind of does, and that's one of the things about that I always enjoyed about Southern California is it looks, actually California as a whole looks like about a piece of every single state there is, and that's what makes it so darned attractive. But when you get big money and lots of influence, the semiconductors and politics, and you mix that, you end up with a kind of a murky mess of a handful of people controlling everything, even though they'd like you to think that it's political equality and popularity, it's really manipulation and pretty blatant. So sadly, when I grew up here, a lot of this down south of here, well, not south, west, was all orchards and, fantastic open fields. You know, as kids, we could go out and throw lemons and hit roofs across the road. That's another story. But it was fun growing up here, and it still is fun, but it's just, regulations are not all the fun they're cut out to be. I'll stop on that one. I'm back on that tangent. I don't want to be there. So for prospecting, one of the things that we've been talking about is this place we have up north. I want to go up and get some film and do some things up there on film. What would you like to hear about? I've got several people's input on they'd like to hear more about different pieces of equipment. They'd like to know more about the types of rocks and minerals that we have, and the types of rocks and minerals that you want to look for when you're prospecting for placer gold. I think that's going to be a good one. That's a go. I see Robert Gino's here from Northern California. Awesome. And we have quite a few people from all over the states, and that's one of the things that's been fantastic. You guys are keeping busy. I noticed a number of people are starting to prepare for going out. A couple have gone out, and now it's back to refrigeration time with snow, I guess. Charles, you can chime in about that one. You told me the other day that you had winter back again. That's kind of what just happened here, winter all over again, which is not bad necessarily. We've had so many years of drought. It's good to see this stuff disappear and turn green. I mean, wow, is that green or what? But it's kind of the idea is, now what do we plan to do next? Where are we going? What kind of fun are we going to have? And where would you like to go with this whole thing, this adventure of gold prospecting? I talked a little bit about last night, the special time I had with my wife on our 42nd anniversary. That was fun, and I hope all of you have an opportunity to have an experience like that. It has been an adventure. We were talking about it at dinner, and it's just kind of amazing how many things go by and you just take for granted day after day, and then pretty soon you go back and look at it and you realize, wow, some of those things we thought were real hardships turn out to be real breakthroughs in our lives. Just stuff we never would have thought of and never would think of as being something, an experience worth going after. You pay money to go to Alaska or go underwater and dredge or whatever, and then something will happen to you financially or family, and you won't realize it, but all of a sudden, hey, this is an adventure we're on. We used to have a saying for it because it was from a play my dad used to do, and the hero would say pudding anytime something was an adventure, instead of saying the word adventure, because there were connotations in the play about adventure. So he wouldn't admit that something was an adventure. So they were constantly winking at each other and saying pudding, pudding, and it was funny. It was comedy. But I feel that way sometimes. We say that when we go out and something happens, you blow a tire and you're in a funny town, and you find yourself in the town adventuring and learning something about the people of the town, and realize that you never would have done that had you not blown that tire. Well, that happens in life. It happens all too often. I'm going to roll this window down again, see if I can get you another shot of that thing. The ring's lit up a little bit. So anyway, I just thought I'd check in with you. Good talking with you again, and good prospecting. It's kind of an unusual place to be shooting. Reminds me of a couple weeks ago when I was shooting down in Malibu and showed you those shots of how water was moving in the creek. We're going to try to get some more of those, but I don't know. You can't plan for this stuff. I didn't think it was going to rain today. He said it was going to cloud, but rain? Well, it's raining. Yes, I, Prospector Jess Weatherman, declare it is now raining on my fingertip. So anyway, catch you later. Good prospecting and good night. And like I said, let me know below. Let me know about what you want. Let's see if I can do this. Can't hold the camera without blowing it. So let me know what you want to see in the way of prospecting tools. Again, talking about these mountains back here, the Bony Mountain area up there, in the relationship to volcanoes and old volcanoes versus new ones, and you know, that was a fun trip. I did that one as an early geology field trip from a local college here. He took us up, and we actually hiked to the top of that thing, which is a more rugged trip than you might think. And so when we hiked up there, we found that it was indeed quite the experience. And then he proceeds to explain that we're standing on a volcano and pick up this rock and that rock. And it was a blast. We learned more on that trip than I learned in a lot of stuff that I took at university. But, you know, that's the way it is. He was an experienced geologist from the oil fields around here, so he knew the mountains really well. And he was really cool about telling us how much this mountain, there's another one on the other side called Old Conejo. It's another volcano, different one. And they're kind of connected, as volcanoes tend to be. But, you know, you'd never know that from looking at this, that was an old volcano. Pretty cool, huh? And that's true, you know, all the way down through the Santa Monicas. There's a whole range there. Imagine if that thing erupted, because south of that's Hollywood, you know. Some of you wish that would happen, but that's a different story. I'll catch you later. Good prospecting and good night. March out in Sacramento for dredging. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to finish up right now and call it a night. Good prospecting, and good to see you, Justin. Thanks, Robert Gino, for pointing that march out. If you have information, post it below. Let's get everybody up there and let's get this thing turned over, because I'm tired of waiting. Over 10 years of waiting for my dredge to be used, and nobody's paid me any compensation for the dredge sitting in the place it is right now, which is a storage center. I'd like to be able to use it here in the state of California than other states, and that just makes no sense. So we'll catch you later, and good prospecting.